Hi folks, and welcome to the first installment of Life Lessons with Burgess Martin. And I am Burgess. I am with Big City Sound, and as you can see, we are sitting in the Smallville Records studio, and a lot about that we'll talk about later. But and it plays a role in our topic today, because in this show we're going to talk about a lot of personal, really personal subjects and things that hit close to home. And it's not to offend anybody, because I am by no means an expert in any of this. This is just a tool that I'm going to use to help myself process emotions about things in my life. And if I can help some of you along the way, then even better. But today's topic is going to be a tough one, and it's the first episode, so why not? Our topic today is going to be depression. And as many of you know, depression it's a monster. It can bring you to the brink of death, or it can make you turn on your loved ones. Just the consequences and the repercussions of depression are just insane, and it's sad. But just to give you a little back history, you guys, I've suffered from it my whole life. I spent 15 plus years in foster care and boys' homes. My mother severely mentally ill. Me and my sister both tried to take care of her as well we could. My stepdad did too. And she's been a ward of the state for a while now. And that was a tough transition, because she blamed all of us for a long time for not being able to help her. And when we turned her over to the state and gave guardianship over to the state of Kansas, she didn't talk to me even. She's my best friend, and she didn't talk to me for almost 2 years because she felt like I was being vindictive by giving her over to the state, when in reality I just couldn't help her anymore. I had to move on with my life, and I had a family of my own, and she just required a lot of things from me that I didn't have to give. And it was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, and that was after struggling with depression of my own, for being in foster care and boys' homes for so long. I had no self-worth. I attempted suicide several times, thanks to some wonderful state workers and staffs and employees at some of the places I was in. I'm still here today. And so depression is something I've suffered with, and self-worth is something I've suffered about. Couldn't even just fathom liking myself even 15, 20 years ago. And today it's a different story. And there's a lot of, I can't tell you the exact way that everybody can do it, but I can tell you how I did it. And so today I'd like to focus on some things concerning depression that might help you. They might not. And I hope they do, because they helped me tremendously. I was the lowest I could have been when I was 17, 18. I was about ready to be an adult. I'd seen a lot of death. A lot of my friends committed suicide. I held them in my arms as they died. And just so much death surrounding depression in the places that I grew up, in the environment I was in. And so I didn't feel like I was worth much. I felt low as you can get on the ladder below the dirt. I literally hated myself, and it took me so long to overcome that. It took me so long to even grasp that I was, that I could be used to anybody. I just thought that I was this kid that was drugged through, drugged through a bad life and moved around like a box. I felt like nobody wanted me, and it was a mistake for me to even be alive. And of course, it's different. It's a lot different now. But one of the things that helped me through this is that I had to find and make the choice myself. One of the parts of depression is that we blame everybody. One time it was my mother's fault because she was sick, or it was my stepdad's fault because he was abusive, or it was my dad's fault because he wasn't there, or it was my sister's fault because they didn't treat her like they treated me. I blamed everybody, pointing fingers, and I had to realize at some point that I reached an age where the responsibility became mine. The only thing that was standing in my way from feeling as low as I was to being happy was me. I was the only person standing in the way, and I had to make the choice to get out of the way. I had to make the choice to let myself become who I was supposed to be, and I was the only one that could choose that. I'm the only one that can decide what I want to be. I'm the only one that can make the effort or have the motivation to do so. And so for a long time, I had to struggle with learning to even like myself. And I can kind of compare it to, many of you out there and have been in long-term relationships. I am too. And there isn't anything I wouldn't do for my other half. And I'm sure you guys feel the same way. Even when I hate her, even when there's just moments that I just can't stand her, I still love her, and I still find ways to love her, and I do it anyway, you know, and it's not even just for the kids, it's just because that's how I feel. You love somebody that much, it doesn't matter what they do to you. That's not why you're in the relationship. You're in the relationship to love the other person, and because they complete you in a certain way. And if you can do that for somebody else in a relationship, you have to be able to learn how to do that for yourself. You have to choose to love yourself, even when it's difficult or damn near impossible. You have to find ways to love yourself when you don't want to. And that's one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, is learn to love Burgess. And I don't mean in a conceited way, wow, look what I can do. I can play this instrument, I can play this instrument, I can talk your ear off, I can sell ice to an Eskimo. I mean literally, I had to learn how to love and like who I am on the inside. And that means facing a lot of demons, facing a lot of mistakes, all the things that you focus on when you're in depression. You focus on the negative. Just like if you want to see the number 33, you're going to see the number 33 everywhere you look. And it's because it's a perspective thing, a choice you made, rose-colored lenses, whatever. But you have to jump out of that and try to break the cycle and try to see positive where all you see is negative. Because just because you feel that way, it doesn't make it correct. You know, it doesn't mean that you're right. There are negative things, yes, and do we make mistakes? Yes. But there's so much more. There's so much more in a picture, even just a picture of you in your life. There is so much more than the things that you do wrong. And so I implore you guys to try to find something today. If depression is something that you suffer from, try to find something today that you've done well, or find what it is that makes you happy and that you love, and use it. I mean, as you can tell, music is that for me. Music and art and graphics, and I've come to find that that's my outlet. That's something that I can just pick up a guitar, especially piano. I can set it at piano, and it's not that it doesn't erase my feelings. My worries don't just carefree go away, but it gives me a place where I can positively explore that. You know, I can express these feelings, whether it's hate, which I don't really feel much of anymore in my life, sadness, despair. On piano, I can explore these feelings in a productive manner without hurting anybody around me, because who you are is not defined by the things you do or the things you do wrong or what you do to other people. Who you are is defined by the path you leave behind you. So I mean, do you leave a path of destruction? Is there nothing but sadness in your wake and everybody just cries as you leave the place? I mean, it is up to you what kind of path that you forge through this life. And that is how people, indefinitely, and at the end of the day, view you. That's how you're judged, that's how you're viewed. And I mean, to be honest, how everybody else feels, how everybody else sees you, it doesn't really matter. But it does matter to your children, it does matter to your parents, to your aunts, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters. What you do affects these people, and that includes how you treat yourself. So I don't want to make this first installment too long, because I could literally talk about this all day, because it's been a very large part of my life. But let's go ahead and conclude it. I just want to give you guys just a few things to note on. And first one is figure out how to love yourself. Look in the mirror and figure out a way to see somebody amazing, because somebody does. Somebody already sees you that way, but you're never even going to catch on to it until you can see yourself that way. So make sure, try to find a way just to look at yourself. And I don't care if you got that feeling of disgust in your stomach. I don't feel it every time. I mean, I don't care if every time you look in the mirror you just want to cry. Then cry, but cry together with yourself. Talk to yourself and find a way to like you. And and the next point I want to do is find something that you are good at. Find something that when you pick it up, it just makes you happy in the world. I don't care if it's playing a recorder. I don't care if it's drawing stick figures. I don't care if it's sand art. I mean, it doesn't even have to be art. It could be reading a book, riding a bike, exercising. You're going to have to figure out what that is for yourself. You're going to have to figure out what my piano is for you, and do it. The key is not just to figure out what it is. The key is to use it. You have to actually do it, because without doing it, you're just going to be wallowing and staying in this constant melancholy and really sad state. Unless you start doing things that make you happy, you've got to provide yourself with positivity, because other people can provide it for you all day long. But if you don't accept it and you can't find it for yourself, none of it's going to matter. It's going to bounce off of you like rain on a windshield. All right. And the third thing I want you guys to try to find and try to do for me is talk to your best friend. Start discussing these things with the person that means the most to you, whether that's your other half, your spouse, your best friend, your sister, your brother, your mother. I don't care who it is. Find that person and begin discussing these things with them. Because the first step to helping yourself out of these depression is starting to accept, I'm not perfect. Accept that I can make mistakes and it's okay. There's no point of no return when it comes to making mistakes, because it's the only way we get better. I play over 30 instruments at least, and there is no way that I could have learned how to do all that if I just quit every time I made a mistake or focused on it every time I made a mistake. I love making mistakes because it gives me an opportunity to get better. So find somebody that means a lot to you, your best friend or whoever, and begin discussing this with them. Bear everything to them. Open your heart, and it's going to take a lot of tears. You're going to be talking about a lot of stuff that's going to be hard to talk about. It's going to form like a lump in your throat, and it'll get easier the more you do it. But that's why I encourage you to find somebody who means the most to you, because these people won't judge you for that. In fact, they're going to love you for it, and they know you almost as well as you know you, and so they'll be able to help you through this, and they will be able to understand where you're coming from more than a stranger. And if that doesn't work for you, some people find it easier to talk to a counselor or a stranger. But the key is here, folks, is that you have to make the choice. You have to learn to love you. You have to choose not to stand in your own way. And I believe in you just as much as I believe in myself. And I'm Burgess with Big City Sound, you guys, and Smallville Records. And I just want you to know that I have faith in you because you deserve it. And we'll see you guys next time on Life Lessons with Burgess Martin.
See